We are a podcast for product marketers and B2B SaaS who feel misunderstood in what they do.
From someone who truly gets what you do and it
Basically help you feel less like a misfit being anywhere remote in the world. I feel like the best conversation we have are unscripted, and I feel like this is that type of conversation. And we'll introduce yourself a couple of moments. But guys, it's been 2 years since we started the pod, November 2023. And if you've been here, whether it's been since the beginning or you joined us recently, we just want to give you a warm thank you. I didn't know that this would get to the level that it is right now, but season 5, baby, let's go. Woo! Sorry, that went years.
season 5, baby. I honestly didn't either. And the fact that it's been 2 years seems so long ago, but the time's gone by so fast. I mean, I've been through 4 different roles if you count my new solo life. Zach, you've been through the deep B word. Moved to another country. Started 2 different agencies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, same thing, dude. You've been through your different motions with your work. You pulled out your message testing now. Gab's had a lot of changes. I've had a lot of changes. I've had a lot of changes in a lot of 2 years, but it's been, for me, the greatest ride, being able to do this with you guys, come out here and talk and grow this underground community of misfit PMMs. So thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I echo that from Zach. Thank you to everyone who's joined us in the last few weeks, last few months, and then everyone who's been with us since day one.
But we got to talk about the burning question that's on everyone's mind. Why
Are product marketers marketers?
No, that one, everybody knows the answer to that. They know is that we're not marketers, but why the hell are we launching a damn event? Why are we going after PMA? Hashtag not your mama's PMA event.
We have been getting a lot of questions about this, but what's interesting is the answer is pretty obvious. People, when I'm talking to others and they're just like, what's this about? It's a lot of head nodding. It's a lot of, yeah, I actually heard, quote verbatim, yeah, I saw your video with the AI sandwich. I laughed because their coffee does suck. And it's just, the reality is we're not calling out anything that's taboo. Like, we're just saying the quiet stuff out loud. And that's, in my opinion, I think I'm not going to say too much about your guys' opinion, but I know we all share a mutual thing. It's product marketing events should be fun. Number one, it shouldn't be stale, boring, sit in a ballroom in a hotel and don't get any vitamin D for 2 days. But you shouldn't be forced, in my opinion, just to sit and listen to thought leaders. You should be able to actually get your hands dirty, do something meaningful that then when you go back, your boss says, oh shit, that was a good use of time. And I think lastly, we make fun of the food and everything, but there is a component of just like relaxation, vacation. And when you go on vacation, you don't want to eat like shit. And neither do I.
And and another disclaimer too is, I'm like, I've been to 2 to 3 PMAs. I've spoken at one kind of session about it. So like, first and foremost, like it fills a gap. It fills a gap and people want like that community aspect. And to your point, a lot of times there's not a lot of engagement because everyone's focused front row, like on the main speaker, and it just feels very still. I think there's a way of doing it better.
I like that, and I would like to add my grain of salt as well. But I think for sure it's better than virtual events, and it's good because it's a glimpse into the PMM community, which like there's not a lot, at least on top of my head, of product marketing focused event, because it's, even if it's like a big play and a big role in marketing, there's not a lot of stuff around. But I think we can do better. And I think that's like the idea. It's the fact that Eric came back from Highline and he was stoked and he was like, dude,
best event ever.
Yeah. like best event ever. And then you gave us immediate FOMO. Was I wanted to do activities and stuff like that, but I like the rapid and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's basically FOMO, but it's also the fact that you can have both. It can be a workation, it can be almost like a vacation, own product marketing, and like at the end you have fun. It's a glimpse into the community. It's not just let's see a bunch of speakers. Let's drink bad coffee because yes, it's bad.
Yeah,
I love how we're just shitting out their companies, which is, you guys, the content's great. The problem we have with you all is your food sucks.
I have another argument. I have another argument then, Zach. Okay, we'll cover, let's not just shit on their event. I would like us to discuss about what is great and what is not great about events. Right? It's about B2B events. It's not just PMA. But not honestly, yeah, right.
Yo, Richard
Well,
King, if you're listening to this right now, fix your fucking coffee because people are pissed.
Wow. Yeah. There's another angle. And then Eric, I'll give you a ball, but one I did too. Okay. So it's a one occasion. I don't want to use that as a qualifier of overall PM events. Like the talks are cool, but I feel like a bunch of the talks are uneven. Some of them are very good. Some of them are like, you're almost asking yourself if you could do better. And then the idea of that is between every dead moment of your attention, please buy the PMA certification, become a PMM certified. I know that this is paying for the whole freaking event. Can you stop trying to sell me so much hardly? Like every single time I look at something, it's a PMA banner telling me with a QR code to get certified.
Yeah, I think what you're hinting at is that when it first started, there was a litmus test of like what topics would come in. There was a specific focus, and like I was part of the problem too. Is that like now that when you create more and more, you got to have more speakers, and when you have more speakers, then you're gonna run into things of this. I think one really good thing that like Drive did that I've heard behind the scenes is that they have the speakers present something never presented before.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to your point, Gab, is that it felt fresh. Each session felt like, wow, I'm learning something from this. Whereas what there.
And
it was foundational too. It's not here's the last few acts of AI. It's more something that stand the test of time, like how we drive copywriting stuff, right?
Yes.
And storytelling.
Yes. And that's the point too. I think like one thing that makes like sessions really good is like, what are the timeless principles for time? I think one of the worst presentations I've ever seen was some pontificating about how AI is the future, but it didn't connect to like where is this trend? It was just like the PMA logo.
Yeah, I think we're tying into like what are we doing differently with our event? And that's perfectly one of them, right? Like you go to a normal product marketing event or you go to a normal B2B conference and you're normally sitting down and you're listening to people talk about theory. You know, what we wanted to do was let's get in and ship something. That's what we do all day, every day. We got to ship surveys. We got to ship messaging documents. We got to ship interactive demos. We got to ship tests. We got to ship a whole bunch of things, but you're coming in and sitting down for a few days and just ruminating on theory in your head and jotting down notes. So we wanted to, of course, leave that in, but also bring in this completely new element, which you don't see. And that's, hey, get a product in your hand, get something that you care about and want to get better at. And we're going to actually work with you on getting better. And we're going to have you ship something. And then if you need to build a business case around it, we're going to have you build a business case around it. So you're not just going back to your boss saying, hey, I listened to someone speak for 2 days. Here's my notes.
You know, one thing I was just thinking about really quick is that I didn't realize this. After Drive, back notes I wrote, this really small detail, but like it's just any event that you've been to. When it's been a time when you at the event writing notes the whole day, that you ever, after a few weeks, you went back and you revisited?
I did the same, dude. And yeah, that's such a good sign. You're back from an event, you look back at your notes, and then you basically revisit them again. You're like, how can I apply this to my use case, this problem, this situation I'm in? I love it. I love the fact that we're talking about our events, but Eric, just curious for our listeners, what is Highline? What happened at that place? And yeah, just give us a small debrief on this.
Yeah, this is Highline. I feel like where things really got cooking. You guys, we couldn't get you to go. So when I was able to go, I said, screw it. Let's commit to this bit again, to being, we're not marketers, going to a marketing event. So created the fake persona of Derek Schmalland, bought a bunch of fake mustaches and headed out to Wyoming, in which, we can talk about the bit, and everyone loved that. And the commitment was obviously there, even through Whitewater Rapids. I had the fake mustache riding with me all the way through. But it was just so impressive to reach this destination that I've only ever heard about, never thought I'd actually get to. You see just this incredible landscape where you want to spend your time, beautiful weather, beautiful people that ended up showing, like really great company. And it was so clear to me that, wow, no one else is doing stuff like this. Even we went to drive the year before, like no one's putting people in whitewater rafts and sending them down the river. No one's doing a 5 a.m. like animal excursion out in the middle of the Tetons. But then again, back to the people, it just felt so intimate. It felt so, I want to help you. And even Jen Allen Knuth, if you guys know her, Demand Jen, a lot of people know her as, she stopped and she said, I've never been in an event where I just feel so welcome and no one's trying to step over or one up me or anybody else. And that was that realization in that moment that not only was that special because of the atmosphere and all that stuff, but most of everyone there was a product marketer or a customer marketer, our little cousin. So there's just this insane sense of empathy that we could bring in if we were to pull off an event like this ourselves. And that was like the big moment I realized, amongst all the cool activities and fun, was that we have people who are starving for this, starving to help each other out, starving to give people an advantage that, other people might hold to themselves. And that was really cool. I think it was awesome. You guys trusted me to get weird and do something on my own. And then I think that tails nicely into us all going the drive together for the second year in a row, but this time a little bit more coordinated, or maybe a lot more coordinated.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about that some, guys. Like, all right, I know I hit up Highline. I gave you my feedback. I pitched you all the idea first. And what were your reactions?
I was nervous.
It's not down.
Yeah. You remember, like, we had this conversation on, like, behind the screen, and we're like, yo, like, this is scary, dude. We're not sure, man. Like, yo, you did your thing at Highline, but now we're going to drive. Like, we'll have this attention on us. And I remember, and then as I was talking myself out of this, I remembered, like, at least in the conversation, like, and we sat there, we were having a similar conversation, and this was about skeleton. This was about, yo, Eric comes in again. It's like, yo, we should put skeleton branding on our podcast. Gab and us work in. We're like, I don't know, man. Like, this is people gonna say, like, I don't even have a job. You know what? Like, I'm scared as shit right now, but I'm like, you would never let us. I'm trusting you on this. And so I was like, yo, I just don't question
That's
it.
when George Costanza was born.
Yeah, George. Dave said it was
Yeah,
really
what about
good.
you?
Oh, yeah, you go ahead.
What about you?
Yeah, I feel like it's the same as Zach, right? I'm unsure about the skeleton. I'm unsure about the mustache. And at first I was like, hey, I'm down to do it on like the party boat, or I'm down to do it at that time, but I'm not down of doing it for the whole freaking event, just being in disguises and coming to the bit. Then you said I did it at the Highland, people recognize me. And we know that being memorable and being recognizable is a great foundation in marketing. And also of just, if we had disguises, we would just be incognito all of it at the event. But then, as Zach said, we trusted you, and it was an awesome decision, and people loved us, and it increased our growth of the pod. They started like talking about us when we're not even there. We got Ryan Holiday to ask us what's the deal with the mustaches, which absolutely made my day.
Yeah, Ryan Holidays, like, come on.
And I think it just shows, even after the fact, I saw a comment yesterday from Alex Verdon. She posted it. She's like, "If you're not giving out mustaches and disguises, I'm not coming." And we won't know until we actually have the event how many people want one of those. But I do think we've created kind of a defining moment, particularly for product marketers. And it just shows being weird and being bold and being unique, I think, will pay off. And if you think about the concept of 3 guys going to drive with mustaches, it sounds absolutely berserk. And then you think about throwing an event when neither of the people involved are event planners. They don't have
That's
great
the
financing backing any of this. You know what I mean?
No planning whatsoever. Oh no,
Right?
I plan house
if you
parties.
just lay out the facts of that, it sounds ludicrous. But the feeling I have in my belly since we first came up with it, since we had our big war room workshop during that drive in the Airbnb, and today as we record this episode, there's just this burning feeling that, hey, we've got this and we're on to something super special, just like when we started the podcast.
Yes.
Love
and I think going back to what you said before, as you were talking, there's something about the mustaches that it's a real pain point. All the photos. When you go to a house party, you're there to kick back, have drinks, play beer pong. But when you go to a B2B event, you have to put on. You are going back what you said. It's like when Jen Allen told you, "Hey, like, this is the first time I actually feel like, like, just relax." Because when we go to these events, we feel like we have to put on this difference. We have to play, we have to wear our title. We have to wear our expertise. We have to sound smart. So when you propose the mustaches, it was like a way for people just to be ironically themselves. It's like Halloween. If people wear costumes, people feel more like themselves. So I don't know. I can't explain it, but I think that's what you hit. That when people are wearing these mustaches, they're like, "Oh, I can like have fun." And that's where I'll stop right there because my thought's still not formed out.
Another aspect of this is the fact that it's both fun and scary. What I mean by that is the first 15 seconds when someone look at you and that everyone's look at you, like there's always people looking at you and laughing or just like talking to a friend or just being a bit unsure about what you're wearing. Once you go past those 15 seconds or more or whatever, it almost becomes a cloak of invisibility. And it's also at the same time the perfect icebreaker. The number of discussion I had with awesome people going to meet, what's the deal with the mustache? What's the deal with the wig? And just us 3 walking by with shades at the intro cocktail. Like that was such a power moment. A very good memory that I have from that event.
Yeah. It was a strong energy. And don't get me wrong, there were some people that were like, what? Like there is still that perception of B2B events of like, this is a professional event. Don't wear mustaches. Like, but no, it doesn't. So I'm figuring out.
Something that I think is interesting to cover is why did we disguise as ourselves? And the idea behind that is the fact that we did it in season 1, not season 1, so the Drive First Edition, because we wanted to play with the game that were our markers. We did it this year again, but this year was different because it was a perfect idea to see, okay, how did Drive improve compared to last year? Is there any insights or tips or secrets that we can steal? And I think that we actually showed a bunch of secret tips on how to be memorable to a lot of the event attendees. But that's the first thing, right? We are not marketers. We cannot be at a marketing event. And the other thing is, because we committed to the bid so much, at the end of the day, on the party bowl, we got a picture with Dave wearing one of the mustaches, the orange one. And I think this is biggest win you can be when the event organizer leading that whole team is wearing mustaches.
Yeah, it's always good when the big boss man gives you a nod at something that, like we said earlier, it was risky. It was weird. It was, to some people, how many questions do you guys think you got asked individually about?
Throughout the whole event?
Yeah. I'm at least 25.
At least 50, but I was one of the percentage rank them.
Yeah. We're at, Zach, what about you? How many people walked up to you to ask you questions about your outfit?
I lost count, man.
Right?
I couldn't tell you.
Like half the attendees had something. And there's other people who were looking, like April Dunford was giving us the side eye. She didn't necessarily say anything.
April always be giving us the side eye, but that's just how she says hello to us now.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
But so it was impressionable. And I think that's what we want to do. We want to make an impression with this next event for us, with all the other stuff with camaraderie. And so I think that tees up the perfect question, right? We're only going to have 150 people here. We were very focused on what's the audience we're going to have. How are we going to allow them in? So yeah, we got 150 people on the list. We're looking to have around 90 in-house PMMs, about another 35 fractional consulting specialist type PMMs, and then about 30 or so bosses, head honchos, CMO types who either miss product marketing, doing it on a regular basis, or need to find product marketing for their bench or team. So let's talk through that a little bit. How did we come through with deciding who was going to be on the list? Who are we going to exclude, if you want to use that word? How are we going to make things feel more inclusive than some of these other product marketing events? Let's start there.
There's something I didn't tell you after the second drive. I know this is something that I think why the 150 is going to work. One thing I did miss about the first year drive was that intimate experience. It was still there a year or two because there was more of a larger group. There was some kind of forming up. And it's natural because if we have more and more people, we want to gravitate toward people. So I think why I'm excited about this 150 cap is that perfect balance of where you get the with people and you still get that inclusive feel. Have it see like with 200, 400, not yet, where they're still able to capture that intimate feel. That's my thing.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing I think is we brainstorm and did our big war room on that event based on what we liked and what we didn't like. And I feel like it represents also like the way we're doing roster for who wants to talk to and stuff like that. And I think like the big interesting idea of that event is the fact that you get to ship something at the end, which I think is a big differentiation. It's not just a workshop or a discussion group, is you actually build something that you can use either with your client, that you can make your team use, or that you can even use yourself as a team.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what's the audience we're trying to attract is people who want to build things, right? Even if you're a CMO, right? Like you still want to get your hands dirty. Come to our event.
No, yeah.
And you just want to be on your laptop and answer emails. Probably not going to be the best use of your ticket dollars. You might have fun with all the activities and stuff, but I think it's just that willingness to get your hands dirty and move the needle and not just sit and learn. Like we can all sit and learn, right? I can talk to Perplexity for 2 hours and probably learn more stuff about a topic I've never had much, knowledge in. But instead we're bringing these PMMs and some CMOs together and I'm confident that we made the right decision. And yeah, you touched on it slightly. With the mix we have, it's okay. A lot of people want in-house product marketers. Why? Because they buy software. And then we can go get sponsors to do that stuff for us, right? And then people like all three of us and other fractionals and consultants get left to the wayside, or you're in that group who can only get invited if you're one of those speakers, right? And so you're not able to really engage and participate. And so that was, I think, really important for all of us, is that we didn't feel like we were keeping fractionals out, particularly for money purposes. And we didn't have some like special workflow that was like permitting them. We're just very clear. This is how many of you are going to be allowed in. We want you here. We can't have too much of a majority. And then same thing with the CMOs. I think Madeline Work's a great example. She's now a head of marketing. She's not a product marketer technically anymore. It'd be a great fit for our event. And I'm pretty sure she's going to want to come based on the feedback we got from her submission. So we wanted to make sure that we had that healthy mix while also making sure it was focused enough, because anytime you add in new audiences, that means you got different messages and it's harder to keep control. And I'm just really proud of us for all kind of landing where we landed on it and making sure that everyone felt included without ruining that aspect of not feeling like anyone had a good time and got it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Oh, I think that was one quick thing was that one thing that was kind of hard being a fractional product marketer going to these events is that people kind of some people keep you out of arm's reach because they would fear that, like, oh, this person's trying to sell us. I even remember hearing through the grapevine, like through some events where I was just like, they were actively trying to exclude fractional PMMs out of this because they were like, we don't want to compete with fractional PMMs at our event, which was tough, but there's no right or wrong answer. But going back to what we were saying here is like one of the values that I think makes it great is people want to feel part of something.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's the lowercase C word community. And even though we don't have a Slack channel, we don't have a circle group.
How can you be about community?
We do feel like that's
excluding people.
Exactly. Something that feels better than an unmanaged Slack channel. No, not throwing shade to anyone, but if you catch it, that's on you.
All right. So then that, I think, brings us into the next question. If you look at our agenda, which you don't have posted yet, so only the three boys here can see it. There's a very healthy mix of activities to knowledge, right? And so we've done a really good job of kind of parsing out what we think will be a good agenda. Of course, we'll nail it down as we get closer. But I think we earmark 6 to 7 hours of free time. We've got parties. We've got the old field days that we used to have as kids in elementary school. We've got excursions similar to what we were able to pull from Highline's experience. So let's talk about that and why we're indexing so heavy on the experience aspect mixed in with the learning.
I really like the breaks. Like when I say breaks, like the intentional, like 6 an hour, because breaks I've seen today at events have been like, all right, after a 2-hour power hour session, okay, 15-minute bathroom break. It's like not enough time to absorb, not enough time to kind of like to know the people at the event, enough time to explore the city you're in. So I'm really fast.
Yeah, time to just chill, to see around, to go back to whoever came with you at the event, or if you rented an Airbnb with other guests or buddies. I think it's all about having fun. And I think that's interesting because we're always talking about what the event is going to be, but there's also where. And I think the coolest part is we get to get the feedback of people inside that part too.
Well, yeah, if I'm being frank, I think you guys are missing some of the bigger points here. So I'm going to jump in. Like, One, activities. When you go to these events, as we all know, you're forced to just sit there. You sit, you get your hips all tight, your back's all tight, and then you go back to the hotel, maybe have some type of evening event. And that's the most of it. But when you go on vacation, you're not just sitting in your hotel room. You're not just sitting.
You're always walking.
Going out, you're going exploring, you're adventuring, you're having fun, you're recharging your battery. And for a lot of us in product marketing, we need a recharge. Might have been months, might have been years since we've got our last recharge.
Yeah, more than most.
Yeah. And so it was intentional not to overload everyone with so much more work. It's to let's have some fun. Let's be humans. Let's forget about B2B for a little while. And it was really important because of our experiences, right? With Highline and then this year at Drive, like we got on that boat, like that was so sick. That we didn't just make this all about learning and education work. And to me, it was almost like it was a hard line in the sand for me. How do we figure out how to have fun? And that's why we extended it to 3 days. Even we talked about it and we just realized that if you want to come and relax, a vacation isn't 2 days. You can take a 3-day vacation with your first day of traveling in. So almost like a 3.5 day. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be one of those things that people talk about as they had a really good time, plus learned a lot. Instead of when these events end and people ask you how it went, it's typically you're like, oh, I listened to this speaker and that was good and that speaker, but there's not a whole lot of, oh man, I want to do that again. I want to do that thing that I did there again. So we hope to hit the mark. We'll see in a year, a little less than a year from now. Now, also, I think we've hit on this. Why do we think this is the bet that we should be taking as one parent, one soon to be parent, one bachelor down in Mexico? Why do we feel like this at this time, as 3 solopreneurs is a good idea for us to do?
I think, ironic that we work in such a people-facing role, product. Yet there's such an emphasis, metrics, results, like even the need for your business today of like, hey, like quantify your message, but there's never been enough time for us to actually get just kick it, not just kick it with people in terms of just customer reason, but a genuine just like back and understand that dude is tough. And I feel like, just like knowing you 2 years, what's crazy is, yes, product marketing brought us together, but like you guys are like brothers. And it's just a really cool, powerful feeling that we got to know each other, but now we are attending like each other's bachelor parties. We're celebrating like life milestones together. And and there's each and every day that like I feel like I'm learning one of like, like Gab, like I'm sitting here, I'm like, damn, I'm starting this new business right here, like how major I think myself. Well, Gab's out here, he's managed his business, he's growing his family. I'm like, Gab can do that. I can figure this out still solo. Here's Eric over here, who's like, yo, we're starting a fucking event. And I'm like, how about this? How about that? And Eric's like, no, we are committed to this committing to this decision. And I closed the laptop. I opened up a book from Brian Holiday about courage is calling, and I'm like, Eric is living this book right now. We don't have it all figured out, but we're gonna make it happen. And so it's just like learning these little things from you that like make person. I just feel fortunate. I think that's something we can offer to everyone else.
Well, I think that's a great, hold on 1 second, Gab. I think that's a great point because my question was, how do we know this is the right decision? And we don't know. And we're okay with that. We are okay with knowing that it's not maybe the right decision. It feels very much like the right decision. And I feel like a lot of us in product marketing, we're stuck with that analysis paralysis. Gab, I know you love that. Love that phrase. And we could have spent cycles and cycles going about this. Like right now, we are getting sponsors and we're pulling them and we're building this situation for them on how this is all going to work and look while we're going about it. And that's okay because we know we're going to crush it. And that confidence and that ability to feel fine with failure, I think we've all grown into together. And it's just been so awesome, and why you guys have continuously become my boys, and why I couldn't do this type of project with any other two people. It just would not pan out. It wouldn't work. But I just know we've developed the confidence, the rapport, and the trust to just say, we got this. We'll take care of it. We always do. And that leads me into one point. And then Gab, I want you to answer this on how you feel about this being a good decision for you. We have been, 2 years now, podcast episode, a little bit changes here and there, pretty much staying the same for the last 2 years. This is our opportunity to take a swing. And I think if we were going to do anything fun, anything unique, there was nothing that I saw in our future more in line with our values, in line with the audience that we already serve, and just wanting to do something that we like to do. And we don't talk about this enough on the pod, but our greatest work happens when we just do the shit we want to do. Not because we have to do it, not because some boss asked us to do it, not because it's part of our KPIs, but because you had the time, the space, and the just creative power to go do something. And that's what this really was. We didn't have to do an event to keep our pod alive. We didn't have to bring together a mix of in-house and out-of-house folks for a few days. We didn't even have to do anything, to be honest with you. We could have just kept doing the same old, but we know we're not going to grow our audience by just taking base hits. Shout out to the World Series going on right now. Shout out to Toronto for winning last night and making the Canadians equal to Americans.
What do you mean equals? I'm kidding.
No, equals. I don't want to see that LA lead. And that's what I think it's all about, is doing the things that you really want to do. And you will figure out a way to do it as long as you've got the confidence. Again, why do you think this is a good idea?
How do I top this though?
You just speak from your heart.
I would say in terms of how do we know if that will work, I would classify myself as a mix between someone who takes bold risk and who's also a degenerate gambler. It's a mix and mix, but I like taking risk. I've been taking risks my whole life, especially as a solopreneur, but I would define that those are mostly calculated risk. And when I take a look in a risk is usually the situation of, am I able to have big enough impact when I work towards something in terms of I'm driven by the work with a purpose? And that's usually settles it, right? If there's a will, there's a way. You'll get knocked down. Like, it's not easy, but when you get knocked down, then you get back up. And that's the whole thing, right? It's that resilience to keep going, especially with the way life works. Again, like whether it's a degenerate, uncalculated gamble, or it's something that is not a gamble because I know that we can make it. And it's a leap of faith that is propulsed by faith and by the trust I have in you guys. I think we're able to do it easily because people a lot worse than us accomplish a lot more. And it's a question of how can we communicate and keep that great vibe that we have when we're either virtual or when we meet at specific events, like the 2 times from that drive. So yeah, I would go to, new limits with you guys. And even if that doesn't work, even if you lose money, even if I have to remortgage my house or whatever, cross that doesn't happen. This will be an amazing learning experience. And those failures is ultimately what help us get to more winnings, right?
100%. Could not agree with you more. The faster we eat to fail, faster we're going to grow and learn and become way better.
Exactly. Think just 2 years ago, all of the experiment we did, all of the new role we took, all of the new responsibilities and pivot we did.
Yep.
Like when you zoom out, you realize that a lot has been done. A lot of it has been tried to start specific motions. And we're not on the same tree, guys. And we acquired 2 years ago. Like it's crazy how much we grew in our personal lives and whatever, like all milestone we did. So I'm just super proud of, even if it's the shittiest event, at least we'll have tried, and we can always have that on our resume that, hey, we talked shit to PMA, we tried it out, it didn't work, but at least we tried it out. It wasn't like keyboards warriors saying, shit, I'm not doing anything about it. You know?
Yeah. And that's, as I get older and I have a son now, it's all comes in perspective that I don't want to be 85 or 90 saying, wow, I really wish we did that. I wish we gave that a try. And I don't think anyone's ever, unless of course they completely fail to mess up their life in a way that we can't even fathom. I don't think anyone thinks about regret in terms of things that they failed at, right? Things that they tried. People always regret the things that they didn't do. And so I'm just super excited about all of this with you guys and everyone listening in. We can't promise anything, but we're going to try our hardest, but we do expect it's going to be something that if you miss, you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass for the rest of the year saying, why didn't I go to that?
Yeah, 100%. The FOMO is strong with this one.
Yeah. And I think that leads into the last bit of this. Let's talk about some of the things we've been hearing through either the grapevine, through our submission forms. I've got a great one to start us off here from Alex Verdon. So we asked who wants to join the wait list. We're going to give you a really sweet discount on your ticket price. We're also going to give you the opportunity to vote on where we have the final location of the event. It'll help a lot influence where we should go. And it's basically a dead even tie between the 3 locations right now. With that, she said, tactical. I got enough LinkedIn bro theory to last me a lifetime. You hear that? So it falls right in line with our general theory of not just theory, right? Make things tactical. Please God, no sessions on broad messaging. We get it. Got it. Good. How about when April Fletch or someone else's framework haven't worked or have just been okay? Maybe some 301 level topics, TAM, SAM, SOM, pricing and packaging, how other industries want to be sold to, and something for self-development, right? How to think critically, how to ask good questions, how to be more curious. Absolutely love these suggestions from Alex, particularly self-development ones.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Everyone's
great.
thinking about PMM stuff, but like, how can you just be a better you? Is awesome.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And then I love this last one, workshops where you can leave with something you can use. So she wants to ship something. Love that. Have you guys been hearing, as I pull up some more, have you been hearing anything on your comment section from other people you've been talking to? I got someone here put, I would like a purple mustache in my swag bag. Please and thank you.
We got takeaways and take-home mustaches.
Yep. Would love programming on AI tools for PMM. Okay. So we expect that for sure. I often go to events or meetups and talk to other marketers who all agree. We have similar problems, challenges, opportunities, but I don't ever leave with a clear, oh, this is what I should explore / do next. That's what I love from this event. Tangible takeaways and inspiration out the wazoo. How do you guys feel about that? That's from Angie Wade.
The takeaways and then the inspiration, because this has been a tough few years with product marketers where people are getting laid off. Look at just the other day, Amazon cut what, like 100, just like a hand. So you're never feeling safe when it sucks. You're giving your on.
I feel like the takeaway part is back to what we talked when Zach noted at the beginning. Like I checked back my notes. I want it to be actionable. I can implement it like yesterday. I think that's great feedback. I think people are always looking to have more fun or say the stuff that people aren't willing to say. That's some feedback that I got from people over the year. Hey guys, be different. Just go with the on-edge thing that we all have in terms of messaging, founders, CEO. I think it will be a place to bond that shared trauma, because we heard so much of other PMMs with our individual consultancy, what they were going through. It can definitely be a nightmare out there. But yeah, I think takeaways is like one of the most important thing you can get, right? How can you apply what you got from this event now?
Yep. And then I love this last one, and we'll wrap up, from Kendra Burnett. Make sure wherever it is, it's worthwhile for the travel. PMA isn't bad since it's local in most metro areas. But if I'm taking time and flying off for work, it needs to be a mix of vacay, education, and give enough time and space to recharge from social fatigue. And if that isn't exactly what we're trying to nail, I think I don't know what we're doing. That's a wrap on it. I think anyone listening to this, you got a little bit of a taste of what you can expect next year from the Skelly crew, and how we came to this decision, I think, is really important. And the story that goes into this is just as important as the event itself. So it's a great way to kick off season 5, guys.
Crazy.
Season
Absolutely
5.
crazy.
All right. That's another episode, and the first of the season for We're Not Marketers. Catch you later.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to We're Not Marketers. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, review our podcast, and share this episode with other PMMs. Thanks again, and see you soon.